Welcome to the Growth Lab, a trusted space for parents navigating their child's developmental journey. I'm Luba, a speech-language pathologist, myofunction therapist, child and family advocate, and a mom of three. For the last 15 years, I've worked with more than 150,000 children and their families, helping parents understand what they're seeing, what it means, and how to move forward with confidence. This podcast is for parents who want clear, credible guidance when information feels overwhelming or decisions feel heavy. Here, we break down speech, feeding, breathing, learning differences, attention, IEPs, and more in practical, easy to understand ways alongside trusted experts. My goal is simple, and it's to help you feel informed, supported, and confident as you advocate for your child. You're in the right place, so let's begin. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Growth Lab podcast. So it's another awesome solo episode with me, but today's episode is going to be a little different. This is the story behind my first children's book. It's a special story and a special episode, a personal one, and a very meaningful one for me. Because today I want to share the story behind something I've been quietly working on for a long time. So this May, during Better Speech and Hearing Month, I'll be launching my very first children's book. And while I am a speech-language pathologist, this book actually isn't about just speech. It's about confidence and courage and helping children build a mindset that says to them, I can try, I can learn, and I don't have to be perfect to grow. The story follows a child who faces challenges with communication and movement and new situations, and having to try something again. It shows how encouragement, belief, and the right support can completely change how a child sees themselves. Because as clinicians, parents, and educators, we know something very important. Progress doesn't happen in isolation. And children they're so hard on themselves when they can't get something right. And I feel that it's so important that the adults surrounding them take time to encourage, discuss, communicate, and create courage and the right mindset so that the children can believe and know that they can do anything they set their mind to. Back to progress doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when children feel safe enough to try and brave enough to keep going, most importantly. And that's why this book felt so important for me to bring into the world. And it's not a therapy tool, but it's a human tool. A story that families and providers and children can all connect to, and one that reminds kids that growth is possible and that they are capable of more than they might believe today. But the truth is, the real reason that this book exists goes much deeper than that. This book exists because of my mom. And crazy enough, it's going to be her 4-year death anniversary. It sounds terrible to say, and it feels terrible too, but it's scary to hear it. So the story behind the story. What's the story here? Before I was a speech-language pathologist, before I owned clinics, before I was an advocate for families, I was just a little girl whose mother believed in her. And that kind of belief changes everything for a child, and thus a person later as they grow. My mom had this incredible way of making me feel like I could do anything. She never spoke to me like limits existed. She always spoke to me like possibilities existed. And that's a powerful thing for a child to grow up hearing. Because the words that adults say to children often become the words children say to themselves. My mom used to use encouragement with me constantly. She would encourage me to try things, to speak up, to recognize the power and the will I had inside of me. She taught me to believe that even when something was very hard, it didn't mean it was impossible. And those messages stayed with me long after childhood and even today, and play a huge role in the way I raised my family. And we actually used to joke about writing this book in my house. When my first son was born, I actually lived with my parents while my house was under renovation. And we were sitting at the kitchen table and this book came up. I know she believed in me that I would write the book, and I think that this will be one of many, but I'm doing it, Mom, and I'm so proud that I stuck to this, and I have had it written for some time, and I've tweaked it and worked on it and thought of you and thought of the book and thought of the message. And it was just one of those ideas that comes up during family conversations. You know, someone's like, you should write a book about that. And everyone's like, oh, that's so funny. Like, write a book. But this idea did stick with me. And like I said, over the years, I've worked on it and tweaked it. And years later now, almost 4 full years that my mom has passed away, I found myself thinking about these conversations again and about how she spoke to me growing up and about the confidence she built in me without realizing it. And I had the book, so I started to think, well, what if I put it out for everyone to see, you know, not just for me to have written for fun. And I started to think, what if more children could hear the message? What if more children were reminded what they were capable of? And I know my mom's not here to spread the word, but she's very much an angel among us, and I know she's pushing me along so that I can spread the word for her. And she wants, just like I want, for all the children to know that they're capable, that they can try again if they didn't get something, that failure doesn't define them, and that growth takes time, and that they're way stronger than they think. And the book will be published in her memory and her honor. And I'm so excited to put out this message to everyone, because obviously when children are growing up and developing, life can get tough. I've been in encounter with a couple of families just this week in my work with the Confident IEP Parent, where parents are really struggling because their kiddos are not getting the right things that they're promised by the school district. And the kiddos are coming home either hating school or feeling like they are stupid. They call themselves stupid. They call themselves below others. They feel incapable. And it's so heartbreaking because those kids especially need to be reminded how capable they are. And all it takes in life is for one person, one strong person, to believe in you, and you will make it. You will make it into whatever it is that you're thinking. Because if you have a cheerleader, then in your mind you're like, well, I don't want to let that person down. They know I can do it, and I know I can do it. And that type of energy and mindset will flow in through that child and the person that hears it, and it really helps to build them up and to get them in the mindset of possibility. And that's what I want the future children to hear.
Parents, if the IEP process feels confusing or overwhelming, you no longer have to figure it out alone. The Confident IEP Parent ebook gives you practical tools and guidance to help you advocate for your child with clarity and confidence. Visit theconfidentiepparent.com to get your copy today.
Because children are the future of our world. And if they're not feeling like things are possible, like they have confidence in what they can achieve, it really sets a lower tone for the future of our country, of our life. And I think that these types of messages, positivity, mental shift, courage, confidence, are built in the home. And this book will present families with how they can utilize these messages and skills, and the children, the message will stay with them forever and ever, because they'll be like, wow, if this character can do this, then I can too. In my clinics, I meet hundreds of children every year. Some of them are struggling with speech, some with motor skills, some with learning overall, some with attention. But what breaks my heart the most isn't the difficulty they have themselves. Children are so resilient. They can learn new skills, they can develop, they can grow, but what hurts the most is when a child starts believing that they can't do something. When a 5-year-old says, well, I'm so bad at talking, nobody understands me, so I'm not going to talk. Or a 7-year-old says, I'm not smart. Or when a child refuses to try something because they are already convinced that they're going to fail. That's the moment where confidence matters more than anything, because confidence is the foundation that allows children to keep going and keep trying. Trying things in life is the only way. And I teach this to my kids. Well, I don't like broccoli. Well, you have to try it. How do you know that you don't like it? Maybe on try number 5, where it's made a certain way, you're going to like it. Or maybe you try it and you decide, yep, it's not for me. But if you don't try, you don't know. And this goes for everything, obviously not just food, but that's a big one, parents. When a child believes that they can try, they practice. And when they practice, they improve. And when they improve, their world opens up. But that belief has to start somewhere, in their mind, in their heart. They have to believe they can. And that often starts with the adults that are around them. Their parents and teachers, therapists, some coaches, and sometimes even a story like mine that reminds them that they are capable and they can do anything they set their mind to. When I started writing this book, I made a very intentional decision. I didn't want it to feel clinical. I didn't want it to be like a therapy book or feel like therapy. I really wanted children to fall in love with the story, the kind of story kids ask to read again and again. Because when children emotionally connect to a story, that message sticks with them. And of course, because I'm a speech language pathologist, I did include something special in the back of the book. There will be a vocabulary list and articulation, pronunciation support so that they can practice speaking the words that they've learned. And families and therapists who want to use the book in that way can absolutely use it. But that's not the heart of the book. The heart of the book is in the message. And the message is simple. You don't have to be perfect to grow. You just have to keep trying. And there is a bigger message in the story as well. I truly believe that the words we say to children shape the voice that they develop inside themselves. If children constantly hear, "You're not good at that," "You're falling behind," "No, you can't," those words will become their internal voice. Have you ever heard the example of if you plant two flowers and you talk to one every day, like you're going to grow so beautiful, and then you talk to the other one and you're like, "You're terrible, you're not growing, you stink." One flower will bloom up and grow and flourish, and the other one will not. This is a proven experiment. And if you don't believe me, try it yourself. So we don't want children's internal voice to be dark. We want it to be light, full of faith, full of belief, full of spirit. But when children hear, "You're learning, you're getting stronger, you can try again, you're capable," that becomes their inner voice. And that inner voice can carry them through some of the hardest moments in their life. And that's the voice that my mom gave me. And that's the voice I hope this book gives to other children. I chose to launch the book in May during Better Speech and Hearing Month for a reason. Because communication isn't just about pronunciation. And it's also not just about articulation. It's also about the messages that children hear about themselves. Confidence is a huge part of communication too. And every child deserves to grow up hearing that they matter, that they can learn, and that they are capable of incredible things. This book is for the child who feels unsure, the child who thinks they're behind, and the child who is learning something new, the child who just needs someone to believe in them. And it's also for my mom, the woman who believed in me first, the woman who taught me that confidence is something you give to a child long before they realize how much it matters. So this book is written in her honor, and I hope that when families read it together, it becomes a reminder that growth is always possible. Before I wrap up, I want to share something I'm so excited about. Bobo Wears a Bowtie is officially available for pre-order. Head to bobowearsabowtie.com. That's BOBO wearsabowtie.com and reserve your copy today. I would love for you to be one of the first families to bring Bobo home. If you'd like to learn more about the book, get updates, or explore resources for supporting your child's development, please visit my website, lubapatlack.com. And if you're a parent navigating speech, learning, or developmental challenges with your child, I've also created resources for you at theconfidentiepparent.com. Because families deserve support, guidance, and tools that make this crazy journey of parenting just a little bit easier. I thank you so much for being here with me today, and thanks for listening to this special episode of the Growth Lab podcast. And as always, keep growing and keep reaching for the stars. Thanks so much for joining me here at the Growth Lab podcast. I really hope this episode was helpful. If it was, stick around for more episodes by subscribing to the podcast wherever you're listening. And if you know a fellow parent that could use this episode, share it with them. Follow me on Instagram at Luba Patlak. That's LubaPatlakh for daily advice and resources to keep you informed between episodes. See you next time.